Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome to my mini cake jar Disney villain series. All of these cake jars are going to be filled with delicious strawberry compote. So I'm starting with some strawberries, some of which were super overripe, and then I added a good squeeze of lemon juice and a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Then I'm taking my little potato masher here and mashing up the strawberries. Now you could very well cube your strawberries or slice them. It's whatever mouthfeel you would prefer in your compote. I like to turn my heat up to medium high, and I only do that on my electric stove because it is a little bit slower to heat. If I was using my gas stove today, I think I would go for a medium. All you're wanting here is you're wanting those strawberries to get a little bit soft. If you like a really mushy fruit, then you're gonna want to boil it for a while. I like mine to have a little bit of crispness to it still, so I'm going to take them out halfway through cooking here. As you can see, the liquid is almost bubbling over, so you just wanna keep stirring it, and it's really important that you use a pot that has nice high sides. I actually end up adding a little bit more sugar to this. I add an extra 1/4 cup because there was a lot of liquid left over from those strawberries. So I just want to reduce it down until it's nice and syrupy. At the very end of cooking, I'm just going to add these strawberries back in, stir them, and cook them for just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to turn off the heat. You do want to make sure that before you actually use your strawberry compote that it is fully cooled down. Moving on to my Italian meringue buttercream portion, I have so many videos where I'm making this, but I thought I would show you again just in case. I'm using 300 grams of sugar here and about 75 grams of water into the pot, bringing that up to about 244 degrees Fahrenheit, and then taking it off the stove and slowly pouring it into about 110 grams of whipping egg whites. I whip this for about 3 minutes to avoid making it too stiff and too dry. You don't want your meringue to end up dry or else it's really going to wreck the texture of your buttercream. At this point, your bowl is actually going to be pretty warm still, but that's what you want. Here I'm adding in some leftover Italian meringue buttercream that I had before, and now I'm adding in all of the rest of the butter, 400 grams of butter. The key to a delicious Italian meringue buttercream is to whip it and whip it some more. Maleficent is all about the purples, greens, and blacks. So what I want to do is I want to do a two-toned buttercream. So I'm putting on some purple buttercream and some green buttercream on some plastic wrap. Then I'm going to take that plastic wrap and I'm going to roll it together. And then I'm going to take that whole roll and put it into a piping bag fitted with a regular 1M or a large metal star tip. In order to get those super deep colors that you see, I always use food gel as opposed to that kind of soupy food coloring you find at the supermarket. Now, whenever you're placing all of your cake in, you want to make sure that you do it in little chunks. This is just some leftover chocolate cake that I had, and I had put it in the freezer for a little bit, and now I'm finally finding a use for it. Whenever you are putting the strawberry compote in, you kind of want to build a dam of icing. So see how I'm putting that strawberry compote right directly in the center so that nothing leaks out. I don't want that red color showing in this particular cake jar. You can do this with perfectly round cakes as well that are fitted perfectly for the jar and put into layers. That also looks really beautiful, but I'm just utilizing what I already have. In creating that icing swirl, I really like to make sure that I'm covering the whole top of the jar so none of those piecey cake bits are showing. I'm adding on some sprinkles here. I think Maleficent really does well with silvers or some type of shiny portion and a lot of purples. Sixlets are a great option because they're nice and large, and a lot of people don't like biting into giant sprinkles, but those are just chocolates, so they crunch really nicely. Now we are going to work on Maleficent's horns. I think that's what you would call them. And you just kind of make a snake-like structure, but make sure that the bottom is a little bit thicker and the top is nice and thin. And then you're going to shape it first to whatever shape you would like. She kind of has it where it twirls out a little bit at the ends. And then I'm going to take it and texturize it with those lines going across it. Today I'm using Satin Ice Fondant in black. I highly recommend that you always buy black fondant and don't try to dye it yourself. These horns are quite short, so you don't have to wait until they fully dry, but it is a good idea to let them dry for at least maybe 30 minutes. A lot of time I edit out this little portion of my video, but I do want to show you guys how I do often find a front to either my cake jars, cupcakes, or cakes that I'm making, and then I decide to put in my decor. So these have been sitting in the fridge for a little while just to make sure that they're nice and firm, so when I stick these in, they don't flop over. These Maleficent cake jars would be wonderful for a little Halloween party or a birthday party or even as favors. If you don't want to eat these right away or you want to make them in advance, they do really well in the fridge for a few days. Now, one of the huge draws of a cake jar is that they're portable and you can pretty much bring them anywhere and they're ready to eat. So I'm going to attach this with a little bit of tulle. I find tulle is the best material for this because it's nice and stretchy. So what I did was I took that spoon and I tied a knot around it with that tulle, and then I wrapped the rest of the tulle around the jar and tied it with a knot. You can either do this with a knot or a bow, it's your choice. As I've mentioned before, cake jars are a great business move for those of you that are running your own baking business because you get to get rid of all of those cake scraps and you don't waste. If I were making these custom, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But if I were making these stock, it's going to be a bit cheaper because I can just let my creativity flow and I don't have to do anything super specific. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys.